Good morning, Acadiana, and welcome to another edition of Morning Coffee with Big Al
and Special T.
We're happy to be coming to you from Cypress Street Radio, AOC Community Media's streaming broadcast.
Look for us every day of the week. Our 8 a.m. show will start your morning off right. That's right in a good way.
Not right as in radical right. We bring you good ideas, good pastimes, and who knows what else.
With a progressive flair. Our 7 p.m. stream is a great backdrop for some decaf and peace of mind. So whether you're drinking coffee or tea or something a little stronger or nothing at all, just sit back and enjoy the show.
Definitely. Well, this is a momentous occasion to some degree.
Yes.
Today, I would say. Everybody, all of our fans worldwide are getting a treat that they've probably never had before.
Yeah, even those people in Louisiana, they're getting it too. So anyway, this is a broadcast including Big Al in Louisiana and Special T way out on the other side of the planet.
Way out, way out. The miracle of the modern WWW technology.
Yeah. It's called Internet from Asia.
Yeah?
Yeah, on a phone. And that's it.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I've been seeing the other side of, well, not a whole lot of it because over there they take everything really seriously. Asia is one of the best performers in this COVID environment of every place in the world. They have the lowest infection rate, the lowest deaths, the lowest everything. I don't know how that's going to, play out when the vaccines come through. I'm not sure where they stand on that, but at this point they've been very careful, and it carries on through to travel also. I'm actually in quarantine.
Yeah, that's another interesting point. I guess I'm kind of in a semi-quarantine because I don't get out. It affects where I go nowadays, but not to the extent you're in a strict quarantine.
Absolutely. Yeah. Before you actually get on the last leg of a flight to this destination, you have to sign paperwork that says that you know that you're going to be quarantined, that you're willing to be in quarantine, and that you'll foot the bill.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and it can be as much as, I think, maybe $2,000 possibly, but I'm not sure. But really? That would be but it's I don't think it would be that much because the little quarantine spaces are very small. They look about like what you'd expect as like a half a dorm room or maybe a submarine bunk,
Yeah.
They've got a table and a few shelves over the cot. It is a bed, but it looks like almost like a dorm bed, probably a little shorter from the ground. And kind of a window, but not exactly.
Yeah.
And it's very, I don't know, it's not ugly, but it's sparse.
Yeah.
Now where I am, it's ugly.
Uh-huh.
But we won't get into all that because, there's some different circumstances that I have compared to, just somebody who's a tourist. people who are from Korea are actually, I think that they bring proofs of the citizenry or the visas or whatever it is. And that will be reviewed at the destination site when you go through incoming customs. Before you do that, you're like in a distance line, and then, I mean, everybody has to be wearing a mask, and you go through a line, and they check your temperature first, and look at something. I don't remember what paper it was that they looked at there, but then you go to another processing point where they check your, I guess, your medical stuff, because you do have to test. And I think just the day I left, they started doing this in the United States, where you test before you get on a flight.
Talking about that quick test? I think they call it a quick test or something, a rapid test or something.
I don't know. I mean, they don't accept the rapid test for this. You have to go and take a PCR test, which is one that takes a little bit longer. But just from, experience, I can share that they do give PCR tests curbside over next to Borden's off of Bertrand. There's like a complex that's been changed over. I think it used to be like apartments, but it's changed over to a lot of little medical groups and odd offices and things like that. Almost like little bungalows. And the E Suite has a group called Precision Diagnostics. And they charge, but they charge a lot less than the other folks that are not hospitals to do the test. And then, and you can get the test done like at Lord's and Lafayette General through certain satellite areas, but there you can't get they will not guarantee having the test results sooner than 48 hours. And if you're going on an early Wednesday flight and your last opportunity or your first opportunity to get this thing is like Monday.
Yeah.
They close on the weekends, and there's no way to have, if you're leaving Wednesday morning, you're outside the 48 hours that you can wait to get on the flight.
Yeah.
So that's a risky thing. So this other place is really good, and there's like another one that costs like $350 to get the test. But anyway, that's kind of.
You need to tilt your phone down just a little bit, Therese. There. Oh, that's better. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's we don't have. Oddly enough, I bet you they have a better handling of the situation over there than we do here. Yeah, even though we're the exceptional country on the globe.
Yeah, I know. That wonderful hegemonic idea. Anyhow, the at the airport, after you get processed and everything else, and you get to where you're quarantined, within 24 hours, you're picked up by a airport ambulance or shuttle, I guess. It's not really, they don't have beds and things in there, but they have a shuttle. And they will take you to a testing site. And I'll tell you what, I mean, everybody there is decked out in hazmat suits. And it's outdoors, but they have tents where they perform all the different processing. And when you finally get around to the person who does the test, you're sitting in a little chair and they're behind a protective cubicle, and they stick their hands out at you through gloves because you're the alien in the bunch. And that glove is the thing that's going to come at you and do the test. So they do that at the beginning and apparently at the end before they release you from quarantine.
Well, it sounds like, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
For me, the test at the at the beginning had 2 swabs, one in your throat and one in your nose, but the one to let you go just does the one in your nose. Yeah.
Well, that's kind of interesting. I mean, it sounds like they've got a system down, to a pretty good, I mean, I haven't seen it, but just from hearing you describe it, it sounds like they've kind of taken the necessary precautions.
Oh, they have these gloves too. They're not the latex gloves. They're more like putting your hand in a baggie, but it's got fingers.
Yeah.
And it doesn't stick to you. But you do that before they will give you the vial, but you have to be gloved. And when you go into the room, you have the swabs separate. You hand the swab to the guy with the glove, and there's like a tray with like a grid, almost like tic-tac-toe, where you put your vial in one of those slots. You have to take the cap off of it, but see, you're gloved, so you're not contaminating the vial. Okay, and then he does the exam, and he puts the swab into the liquid, and you just get up and walk away, and they take your gloves, and you pick up anything that you had to left outside from the place where he's sitting, and you get back in the ambulatory shuttle, and they drop you back off where they
and you ambulate some.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it sounds like those little gloves at the salad place.
Yeah, kind of, but everybody wears large.
Yeah.
So if they have people with big hands or people with little hands, you still have the same size. So it's one size fits all because it's big enough for everybody.
Well, that's I guess that's better than having, it's probably more workable than having them all small, and then you really wouldn't have one size fits all.
Yeah, it'd be too difficult because then they'd have more contact than they want. This, they just, hold it there, you stick your hand in and you're gloved. Anyway, so it's interesting. I'm hoping to get a good report and not be told that I have a positive attitude, but a negative test result.
Yeah. Well, this is quite an adventure, I'd say.
Yeah, it is.
Even though I know you've been there before, but this is
different
circumstances.
Yeah. I haven't seen anything of South Korea yet, except for the path between where I get the test and where I'm staying. And here, somebody told me that it had snowed, and so I was able to kind of open a window and look and see that everything was white. But by morning, when it was light enough to take pictures, most of the snow had dissipated. Yeah. Okay, we're going to rearrange here. Okay. I'm a little further away.
Yes, you are.
Okay, I see my hand, so I'm going to move that.
Well, you're really making the sacrifice for morning coffee today.
I am. Nobody realizes how early it is here, but even worse, there are some noon meetings that I have attended, and those noon meetings are at 3:00 in the morning here.
Well, I guess it's 5:30 over there now, huh?
Yeah, and it's tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
It's your tomorrow. It's my today. You're yesterday. Or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, you are.
No, it's my tomorrow.
Yeah, it's your tomorrow.
And I'm in your yesterday, I suppose.
Exactly. Yes.
Well,
it's really confusing.
Well, it's kind of interesting, I guess, unless you're a flat earther.
Yeah.
Then it must be really confusing.
For people who have, sons and daughters who've gone overseas, I understand they have difficulty with this too. Knowing what's the right time to call or send a message, because you might be, or you think it's the middle of the day. You get used to just assuming. You might not remember that for them it's like the middle of the night.
Well, I was talking with some people in Australia, which is
it's close,
a few hours off from y'all, but it's still the same concept. I think it was either 11 or 13 hours. I forgot which, but depending
on what side of the continent they're on.
Yeah. This was on the east side of Australia.
Okay, so, well, that would be closer to us.
Yeah,
so
well, I mean,
the west side would be, for the west side of Australia, the time between their time and a time in America will be shorter than those on the east coast of Australia.
Yeah, I guess depending on how you look at it, it's closer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess it depends.
It depends on where you are in the United States.
Yeah,
too.
Yeah, it does. But
all logistics.
I think you're sinking again. You need to adjust your buoyancy a little bit.
Please forgive my shrinking violet.
Yeah. Well, like I say, that's it's pretty amazing, I guess. Not terribly amazing if you're familiar with it, but I mean, considering over our lifetime that we're able to do this. I mean, you're on basically the other side of the planet, and here we are just talking just like we're in different rooms or something like that. And
the closest we had to this was like Dick Tracy's comic, where he talked into his watch.
Yeah. Yeah, his two-way wrist radio or wristwatch or wrist TV. That's what it was. But
what did they call it?
The two-way wrist TV.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, that was sci-fi at the time, and now it's reality, I suppose. But
we have some problems with reality, though.
What's that now?
We have some problems with reality.
Yeah, there seems to be some conflicting ideas, or there have been, and probably, I think there still are, some conflicting ideas with reality here on this side of the globe.
Yeah, it's really unusual and kind of heartbreaking, too. I mean, if you've got somebody in your family who is like a conspiracy theorist and doesn't believe anything that's fact anymore, it's really, I don't know, it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder.
Well, it's not terribly surprising to me.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't know any better and didn't have any other sources of information, and I was telling you a bunch of garbage for a long time, then, you'd have suspicion.
Then you'd think it was true.
Yeah. And
we degraded in some sense. A lot of schools don't teach civics anymore, and the education not everywhere is the same, and that's partly what the problem is, I think, or I don't know. It comes from home too sometimes.
Comes to what now?
From home also.
Well, yeah, there's that too.
If your dad's like a grand dragon or something, and your mother's,
that could be a limiting point
of view. A housewife, that does exactly what they say, or else.
Well, you have to worry about those Jewish space lasers too. But
I've heard that. I haven't heard about that here. So what's the deal with that?
No, yeah, that's what I think her name is Green or something like that.
She believes in Jewish space lasers.
Yeah, that they were starting the fires over there in California, you know.
Lord. Oh my Lord.
Yeah, well, it's
No, it was from all the trashy leaves, you know, underneath the
yeah, you gotta
forest.
keep
That
your
was it.
forest
You
right.
know, break your forest.
Yeah. The well, the critical thinking skills, I think, have been declining over here.
Yeah.
But once again, you need to pump up your raft a little bit, float yourself up. Oh,
I'm turning it down so I can look at you better.
there you go. Well, I mean, I can understand that, but
a tiny little monitor that I can kind of see where I'm sort of centered or something.
Yeah, I know. You're definitely at a disadvantage. But that looks good now.
There, I got my hand for the way and and I'm in the middle. Okay, there we go.
Well, you know, speaking of reality, just to expand on that a little bit, unfortunately here in our beloved hometown, we're having
Lafayette.
Yep, we're having there's seems like a question about voting rights and libraries, and this kind of gets back to education too. I mean, when you get right down to it, I mean and which reminds me of it's a quote, but something along the lines of, "I love the poorly educated."
Oh, that was Adolf Hitler, wasn't it?
I don't know. I don't speak German that well, but it's possible, I suppose. But there was going to be, I think it was a discussion, or maybe they had a couple of books.
Presentation and review of books.
Right.
A whole package that was going to come across with grant money.
Yeah, there was a grant money thing, and I think somehow or another that got rejected because there was a worry that I guess this is just what I've been hearing about, that there's two sides to the voting rights issue, and to me that's kind of like, well, you got. See, one side is voting rights and one side is voter suppression.
Voter suppression.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, I guess it depends on if you want people to vote or not. And there's a lot of people and I won't get into specifics, but I think probably a lot of people know the details, but it's like there's people that they don't want people to vote and why, you got to ask yourself.
It's a racist thing. Isn't it a racist thing? I mean, they don't want people of color to vote because they don't like who they're going to vote for. Or
it's definitely a racist. It's definitely one aspect of it. And probably the main aspect.
Black History Week, a month. Black History Month.
Yeah.
And you would think that you would want to talk about voting rights. You'd think you'd want to talk about history. You'd think you'd want to share these things so we don't make the same mistakes again. But some people maybe don't think there were mistakes. They want it to be that way.
Well, I mean, it's definitely kind of gets back to who owns the most stuff gets to make the rules. And that's kind of goes all the way back to, basically the formation of this country. I mean, it's not really, it's not advertised and it's not in bold print, but if you dig and look at some of the supporting documentation around that time, it's kind of hard to escape, that conclusion. But the thing is,
it makes it very hard to, it makes it very hard to move out of a strata. It's almost like a caste system.
Well, it is. I mean, it's it's what, well, that's a good description of it. And the people, I mean, I guess over here with us being the exceptional country and all that, and, granted, we have done a lot of good things.
We have.
Since our inception, but that's not to say that all of them have been all that good. And which, any student of history that actually looks at what actually happened, you just, you have to face that. And but getting back to the voting thing, I mean, it's like, if you think you have a good idea, why not put it up for a vote? Well, exactly. Because you don't have a good idea, and if it gets voted on, then it's going to get rejected. So that's why, I mean, that's the reason for voter suppression, or one of the big, the top 10 reasons, we'll say.
Yeah.
But, as much, I guess criticisms would be a good word for it, but the things that I find wrong with some of the things we do as a country, January 6th was kind of
it was an eye-opener.
Yeah. And I think we got a little too close there.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I mean, but I guess, one thing we could do is we could probably have a break for a little while and come back to this after.
Yeah, well, we mull this over. Let's mull this over.
Yeah, we could do that. We could mull it for a little while and then come back and talk about it.
2021 is here, Acadiana. And from a transportation safety perspective, a couple of things from 2020 stick out. Serious injury crashes were up 17.31%, and fatal crashes were up 3.3% from last year. While gatherings and celebrations may look a little different this year, the Louisiana Highway Safety Commission, Destination Zero Deaths, and the Acadiana Planning Commission would like to bring you some safety reminders to help you navigate the roads.
Feeling sleepy? Take a break. Don't drive drowsy.
Pedestrians, be seen at all times. Wear bright-colored and/or reflective clothing.
If you feel different, you drive different. Please don't drink and drive.
Be aware of school zones and take the necessary precautions when driving through them.
Distractions are 100% preventable. Phones down, eyes up.
Remember, trains always have the right of way.
When traveling through work zones, slow down and be prepared to stop.
Always follow the rules of the road. Obey speed limits and all traffic signs.
Share the road with cyclists. Give them 3 feet of separation on all sides.
Let's be clear. Drug driving is impaired driving.
Buckle up every trip, every seat, every time.
Share the road with motorcycles. Looking twice can save a life.
While 2021 brings new challenges, our goal is still the same: changing driver behavior one driver at a time. Let's make 2021 a great year on our roadways and have a happy and safe new year. From our safety team to you and your family.
So, I think that one thing that we need to think about with regard to the library is what was coming down the tubes back a few months ago when they were going to shut down the parks.
Ah, yes, I remember that.
I remember there was, a lot of outrage and control. Very, very positive, very, a lot of gatherings, a lot of dialogue, no violence, just, hey, this is wrong. and it went viral for our community, and there were gatherings, and the point was made, and those rec centers that were going to be closed are still open and still funded, and they found other places where they could cut things. Unfortunately, it wasn't, still not all the monies are going in good places, and if they were, it would be much better. But at least the parks are still there for the kids.
Yeah, these were rec centers and parks or something like that. Yeah.
Or rec centers, most of them in more challenged areas where there's not a whole lot to do,
Yeah.
and the kids relied on those as an outlet, because there weren't many. So we need to fix all that. I mean, we just really need to fix all of that.
There seems to be a common thread here, I'm noticing. And it's unfortunate, but
I have reached out to the organizations that took part in that, because this affects the same people. It affects everybody,
Right.
I mean, it all affects everybody, but those who stand to be most impacted and kept from having some good reaction, good results, are in the same area, the same position.
Well, one thing we used to say was an injury to one is an injury to all. And
that's true.
It not really as dramatic as it might sound, because it's it's just the way it works. And here, getting back to what you were saying about the talking it up thing, people and organizing and all that, I'm kind of thinking, and I really, I want to see this happen. There's going to be a deal today. I think it's she was the, I don't know if she was the administrator or the head of the library, the main
director of the library, Teresa Albertson?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, she resigned apparently, or retired or whatever.
Well, she'd been there a lot of years, and way back when, when it was 10 or 15 years ago, and I think they still do this in the schools, where they have a career day and the children decide what they want to be and follow somebody who's in that career.
Mm-hmm.
And I know very closely a little girl who followed the librarian, and I think it was Teresa Albertson. Yeah, so it's kind of cool. But she wasn't the head librarian at the time. She had been there a long time and did a lot. But that, like I said, she's been there quite a while. She was actually hired into her position by another person who had been in the library system for a long time also. I must admit, I cannot remember her name. But in Miss Albertson's, I guess she sent a letter or something out to the public, or made an address to the public. She gives kudos to the ladies, the people who had gone before her. And she's been remarkable. Teresa's been remarkable.
Well, I guess what I was getting to is, I think there's going to be quite a bit of resistance to this, because I don't know what some of the people are thinking around here, but it's not the mid 1800s anymore.
Yeah.
And we have so many opportunities. I mean, yes, oil may not be coming back, at least to the degree that some people would like it to. And, maybe they're used to that, and they're, proud of their work. And that's, it served a good purpose.
That's good in itself. Yeah.
But, energy's energy. And if we had, and I think this is kind of what's happening, it's just kind of slow spooling up, but, people could be working, doing all kinds of green energy stuff too. And
exactly. The jobs and the opportunity is there. And, I don't know, you talk about being, I don't know, so much ahead of your time, but just paying attention to what's happening. Back in 2007, that's when we had David Vitter, and there was like a complete, as far as the people in the audience, a complete rejection of the idea of cross-training.
Yeah.
I mean, that was brought up. He had one of his big town meetings, and that was brought up, and they booed the person who said it. They put a racial twist on it. It really was like eye-opening as far as the hard-headedness and stubbornness of the community at times.
Well, yeah, and I guess it's kind of a sad commentary.
We could have been doing this all along, getting ready for it. I mean, the science, there it is, science again. Some people hate science. Science has put out papers and things about the depletable resources, and nobody, they just didn't want to pay attention.
Well, I understand that, when somebody's used to doing something and it's a whole culture, and there's a lot of people that are used to doing that, and they provided a lot of energy for a lot of people, or they played their part in that, and that's good. But the thing is, it's like, it wouldn't bother me at all to, drive around in a Tesla. I mean, particularly if it was the new coupe, the Roadster. But probably a little bit above my,
I think all of us are guilty of this a little bit, because I know that for me, how long did it take me to actually get a cell phone? It's just like, and
you work on
bad at it.
Well, it took me a while before I finally quit, listening for the dial tone after a while, but it's like there's still, and this is kind of getting back to our little unsuccessful coup attempt, which is what it was, no more, no less, in my opinion. And I don't think I'm the only one that thinks that. And I've also been seeing things about other attempts or, goings on 2 times before this. I think one was on January the 3rd and one was toward the end of December that I hadn't previewed. Yeah, just things, trying to move stuff around and trying to get, trying to set things up to where, this would happen. And even on the previous attempts, and, maybe, I'm sure they'll come out with a, halfway decent case study. I mean, I doubt seriously they're going to come out with everything, because they probably don't want everybody to know what all went on, because I think we got a lot closer than a lot of people realize. But
there was, from what I've been able to read over here, there was a lot of planned violence, and I mean, to the degree that we're talking about serious threat to life.
Well, I know I've heard AOC, you probably have too, a few times. And either she was really scared. I mean, fearing for her life, as far as, which, I mean, understandably so, or she ought to be in Hollywood, because, she was, she had me convinced that But I mean, this is definitely, in spite of my ideas about what needs to be corrected, in our country. I mean, to see this happen, not something I like to see. Kind of scary. I mean, I was watching it. I was watching. Huh?
It's the wrong way to go about things. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well,
it's like Myanmar,
to put it mildly. But and I guess we just have to deal with it, and and this unity. I mean,
those who are not who are not found out or not seen are still lurking in the shadows.
Well, I think they're trying to, look at that, to find out, who participated and who assisted and all that kind of thing. But the thing now you hear about, we need unity. I'm thinking, no, I don't think so. I think what we need to do is find out who did this and hold them responsible, because this is not the peaceful transfer of power that that is one thing I think that we're kind of known for, and this definitely didn't work out like that. I mean, I was watching the House when it happened, and live, and I thought it was because some of the members were cutting up and just trying to disrupt the meeting, or the hearing or whatever, the reading of the electoral votes. But and then they said, I think it was 2B or 12B of Rule 1 or something like that. But it took me a while to find it when I looked it up. But that's, immediate
code for you need to take shelter or something.
Well, yeah, basically it's I'm trying to think of the particular word, but the
evacuation.
Well, it's recess. I mean, I'm trying to think if it's. Sometimes I get recess and adjournment, but I mean it's like due to emergency circumstances. So this is something that I'm sure they get briefed on. It's like if anybody says, unanimous consent for, and like I said, I think it was 12B of, Rule 12B of Clause 1 or something like that. I mean, but it's that means, it's like a fire drill. This is not fun and games. This is serious. And, I would think they get briefed and emphasize that, this is what you do if this happens.
I wonder if they ever really did a fire drill.
Well, I don't know. I've never seen one happen. But
me neither. I never heard about it, but we sure have them in school.
Well,
Look, there's something that's probably what we need. Aha, look at there. You can read that.
Well, let me see if I can read that. Yeah, well, I can't. It's too small for me. But,
look, bigger now. There it is, 2B.
Yeah,
I see
Clause
2B.
12B of Rule 1. And,
what's it say, Al? Can you read it?
Well, let's see. Declare an emergency recess when notified of an imminent threat to the safety of the house. And, that's, and like I said, I thought it was, I thought they were just trying to call an immediate recess to get people to start acting right. And this was actually when the people that, the rioters or the, whatever you want to call them, were going around.
I can't see you.
I'm thinking. Let me, there we go. But, you know, it was definitely kind of a, well, I don't know. It was an eye-opening day for sure. And
well, there's still screwy stuff going on, you know. There's still screwy stuff going on. You know, I read a really interesting article that compared the loser in the election with Pope Benedictine from the 14th century or 13th century, who refused, even though he was supposed to give up papal power, to leave, and never gave up to, you know, never passed on the hat or whatever you call that thing they wear. and was just a real honest to goodness pain in the neck for the whole time. And, you know, they used to like exile people and send them places where they, you know, wouldn't cause any trouble. But now with the internet and all, we can't do that.
Well, we've
come a close second, you know.
You need to adjust your camera just a little bit. There we go. Okay, that's better. But I was thinking about exile would be a nice thing to do for. I mean, expulsion for sure for some of the people that, you know.
The closest we could come is to like put him on a some sort of a spaceship, but he might, you know. Who knows what he'd do from there?
Well, of course, they have that on the Avengers. They have that place out in the middle of the ocean, you know, where they keep the troublemakers, even though they're really good guys because they're Avengers. But, you know, it's, I think the principle is
kind of the same. Kind of the same principle, yeah.
Well, it's kind of an isolation thing, you know, except not for COVID necessarily, just to keep them away from. And then, you know, there's the free speech argument, which of course is not it's not the right one, because it's not the government that's preventing some of the people from spewing their ideas. It's private companies that these people said, you know, yeah, I want to get on your platform and I'll do this and this and this and this, and I won't do this and this and this and this. And when they do stuff, when they break the contract, then they've lost
they broke the contract, so they lose their privileges or whatever.
Exactly.
Or what it is they're paying for, what they were given is taken back. So
right. Yeah, it's definitely food for thought. This has been
so maybe there's some good things about private entities.
Well, I mean, there's really it's just the
honor system in a way.
Well, it's kind of like that. I mean, there's some structural changes that need to happen. I mean, more of a cooperative, a co-op, you know, as far as the people that work there, to where, you know, the people have a say in their workplace, because that's where we spend so much of our times, you know, if we're working. But there's some things
you know that in any of those systems, if you had somebody of that personality, that they could play havoc with the whole thing and just be the undoing of a really good system.
Right.
I mean, I've run into that before with like a board with people there that just wanted to cause trouble. You know?
It's kind of like, you know, in the case around here, it's a power thing. You know, I mean, at least that's what I think.
It was too.
Huh?
Yeah. I think that our board issue was a power thing too. It was really.
Yeah, I've seen it happen. And I mean, it's like, it's kind of a shame. I mean, and a lot of times it gets back to the divide and conquer thing. You know, if you get if you're the top dog and you want to keep all the ones down here fighting over, stuff that's really not that, it's like, just keeping them fighting to keep their attention and their energy from trying to say, hey, wait, it's this person up at the top that's, not doing stuff right and keeping us in
it's a distraction.
less than desire. Well, yeah, exactly, distraction.
Mm-hmm.
So how's the, well, I guess you really haven't, I know you've been there before, but I guess the things are doing.
Well, the main thing that I see is that on the street, because I have, been on the street, going from one place to another, on the street, everybody's wearing masks unless they're smoking.
Oh, okay.
And we're talking, even the little tiny kids have masks on. Even the little tiny kids. It's just like, wow, look at this, at street corners when they're waiting for the light to change, every place I saw just 2 people and they were smoking. They didn't have their mask on. But when they got through and they walked away for maybe 5 steps away from where they were smoking, but they put their mask back on the right way. I didn't see anybody with their nose hanging out of their mask.
Yeah.
None of them.
Well.
And here they make the N94, so maybe I can bring some of those back. My club's going to have an auction in March from the 15th through the 26th, and I want to put together a basket like thing, a package from here, and I think I'm going to put a box of N94 masks in it.
N94s or N95s?
N94s are the street version of an N95. N95's for medical. N94 is as for street.
I hadn't heard that. That's the first time I've heard that.
And I read about it somewhere before I left America. That Koreans that's as protective, but it's a different.
Interesting.
So, but I also read double masking can be safe for. And there's even instructions about how to do your double masking, as far as how you want it to not have. You don't want it to be loose, so that the elements from getting in your mask.
Yeah. Well, I had somebody telling me the other day that, and I don't know because I haven't really looked at the WHO, but supposedly in India, there's not as much transmission. There's not a whole lot of transmission. So I was told, and they're not really using masks that much. But I mean, I don't know if that's, like I say, I hadn't looked at
maybe it's the
WHO. Huh?
Maybe it's that hot food they're eating.
Well, maybe. I mean, I don't know. It's an interesting. Obviously, if everybody had really good immune systems, then it really wouldn't be that much of an issue. But
right.
I've even heard it said, and this has been a while back, that a mask can kind of act as an immunization, because if you're exposed and you're wearing a mask, then the transmission that you actually inhale is much less, but it might be enough to spur the immunological response of your body,
Yeah, the immune system. That's good.
Right. Interesting stuff. But,
huh? Yeah, I like that.
Well, I mean, I wear one when I go out. I mean, it's a small sacrifice to, maybe it's helping a little bit. That's what I'm thinking. Because it's a numbers. It's a numbers
Right.
game. I mean, it's probabilities and all that stuff, and the,
This is something weird. But I'm reading this, this fantasy series that's by Stephen King. And it was so odd to me because when I got to book 4, it started talking about this virus.
yeah,
And it was like, oh my gosh, they're thinking about this way back when about a pandemic and a virus. So
yeah,
everybody, it's been on the radar a long time. And what we hope is that all of you stay safe, that no matter what your thoughts are, that you don't come down with this. But if you don't protect yourself, you're more apt to. And that's just a fact. That's just a fact.
And I guess that's, I guess we can wrap it up with that and say, people, wear your mask, wash your hands, don't touch your face, which I do all the time anyway. But
I saw that.
Yeah. But at least I'll wear a mask. So at any rate, everybody come visit us on Facebook, and y'all have a great day or night or whatever it happens to be.